See that light post? I had to make the city of Atlanta move it out of the wheelchair ramp. Yep. They do things like that.
Into a contractor's truck. He tries to drive off. He does all this right in the middle of the day, right under that contractor's nose.
Incredibly brazen.
You'd have to see it to believe it.
He was very bold without really any worries about consequences.
This guy, wearing a brown t-shirt and red pants a week ago Wednesday, walks through Rebecca and Carnes Jackson's yard as contractors work on their roof on Rocky Ford Road in Kirkwood.
He just cruised right down our driveway like he lived here.
He walks out of frame up to this white pickup. Contractors working all around him.
We had easily 8 or 10 workmen on our roof in the yard. The neighbors had a crew of landscapers, probably about the same amount of people.
The roofers walk into frame.
He got into the truck.
They're unaware someone is trying to swipe their truck.
The roofers didn't know he was in the truck.
A couple of minutes later, the contractors realize what's happening.
They went and snatched him out of the driver's side window.
The guy takes off running
and then chased him down the street.
Neighbors tell Jackson he recently stole at least another contractor's truck in the area.
We're definitely on high alert.
This APD crime map shows 19 reported cases of theft from a motor vehicle this year in the Kirkwood neighborhood. 11 reported cases of motor vehicle theft and at least 2 cases of theft of motor vehicle parts or accessories.
That is unnerving.
It's unclear if any of them are connected to this case.
He's a danger to people around here.
Jackson just wants this guy arrested.
It's not fair that someone like that can terrorize us.
Jackson says she filed a report with Atlanta police. We asked them if this theft is connected to other thefts of other contractors' trucks in the area. They say they'll get back to us.
She was stabbed to death.
Today, Fox 5 was the only news station at the scene as police served a warrant at the suspect's home. As Newshead reporter Joy Dukes explains now, police now believe the house is where she was killed.
Yeah, DeKalb County Police spent several hours at this home on Panola Road. They initially came here with warrants for the suspect in question. Investigators could be seen combing through evidence at the home that they also believe is the crime scene. Less than 24 hours after a 57-year-old woman's body was found in a van on Coffee Drive in Lithonia, DeKalb County SWAT officers showed up to this home on Panola Road looking for the suspect. The 27-year-old wasn't there when they arrived, but investigators say evidence he murdered the victim was found inside the home. DeKalb County CSI can be seen here collecting evidence. According to police, the woman identified as 57-year-old Marita Howell was stabbed to death at the home yesterday. Connections at Metropolitan UMC's website lists Harrell as the senior pastor of the church. She was visiting the home as a part of her outreach efforts for individuals who'd recently gotten out of prison. They say after the suspect killed her, he dumped her body about 10 minutes away. Police say cell phone records showed the suspect was the last person she talked to before her disappearance. They say the suspect, whose name has not been released, is still on the loose. Family members of the suspect were here when police arrived, but they are not sharing any details about the suspect's location at this time. If you have any information that can help police in this case, you're asked to call DeKalb County Police at this number at 770-724-7850. In DeKalb County, Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Into the DeKalb County Jail.
Atlanta police arrest a teenager suspected of a carjacking. We'll break down the body camera footage for you showing that takedown.
On today's reported that someone had followed her for more than 2 miles. When they got here, he forced her off the road. She was afraid, and she pulled out her gun. She told it all to the 911 operator.
Following me. I don't know who it is. They keep following me. Please help me.
A frantic call to 911. Chelsea Young says she was driving for Uber and had just dropped off a passenger Sunday night when a man started following her. She says he forced her off the road and she crashed her car.
He ran me off the road and told me my car was self-defense.
On the 911 call, you can hear Young confronting the man.
Are you a maniac?
The man, who police later identified as Tariq Wiggins Younger, told the Uber driver he was a police officer. She didn't believe him.
He's telling me
Seconds later, the sound of gunfire.
I started shooting at him because he was acting crazy.
Atlanta police showed up and found Wiggins Younger in the parking deck with bullet wounds to the leg, back, and shoulder. Investigators say Wiggins Younger told them he was a Los Angeles police officer who was trying to pull Young over on a traffic violation. They didn't believe him either. He was charged with impersonating an officer as well as aggravated assault and drug possession.
In this case, we do believe the person in the dark colored vehicle was scared and actually just trying to get away from this person.
As for whether Ms. Young is still driving for Uber, well, Uber does not allow its drivers to carry weapons. A spokesperson from Uber sent me a statement that says they have removed her access to the app while they look into the incident. If the driver submits written clearance from law enforcement that she is not being charged, Uber will reevaluate her status. In Atlanta.
Wow, that was 10 solid seconds of what sounded like gunfire. Back out live. That video was sent to us by a neighbor who was filming.
Shooting tonight. This was the scene just a short time ago in the 4400 block of Hicks Road. We're told police were originally responding to a person threatening suicide. At some point, the SWAT team was called in, and now we've learned this is an officer-involved shooting. We have a crew there on the scene, shooting video, gathering information, and as soon as we know more, we will update you. Abortion services expected to show
unresolved problems with the fuel supply chain. And not to sound like a broken record, but the national average for unleaded gas hit a new high today of $4.59 a gallon. Here in Georgia, you'll pay about $4.13 for regular unleaded. A congressional grilling on Capitol Hill for the FDA commissioner today. He faced a barrage of questions over the agency's response to the baby formula crisis.
The inquiry comes after two bills were passed by House lawmakers late last night aimed at accelerating production and distribution. Fox's Chad Pergram explains.
FDA's slow response and forcing parents to play a game of Russian roulette that they did not know they were playing.
Lawmakers apoplectic after the FDA failed to probe a whistleblower complaint about improper procedures at an Abbott lab in Michigan last fall. The plant closed in February. Food taken from the mouths of babes.
It is unconscionable that we did not have a backup plan for this supply chain issue.
It was just like nobody did their job here.
Lawmakers quizzing FDA Chief Robert Califf on when exasperated parents can feed their kids.
We should begin to see improvement within days.
So I can tell my constituents that within a matter of days, they'll be able to find formula on the shelves.
So within days, it will get better. But it will be a few weeks before we're back to normal.
Democrats pin blame on a favorite target, corporate America.
The shortage was caused in large part by the lack of action by the FDA and by corporate greed and consolidation.
The House and Senate sprinted to approve a bipartisan bill to expedite formula distribution.
We want to be as fast as we need to be. It's never soon enough to have food for a crying baby.
After all, since December, the tech-heavy NASDAQ exchange is now down 39%. That's almost twice as much as the wider diversified stock market has fallen. Former EDD Director Michael Bernick has been following labor markets for 4 decades.
What we do see this week is that tech layoffs are the highest since January of 2021, and they include both established firms across the spectrum as well as more recent, smaller tech startups.
What's going on in tech?
The reason for the layoffs at Netflix is different than the reasons driving layoffs at Carvana or layoffs at Robinhood or layoffs at these other firms.
I've seen and actually suffered from a number of layoffs.
Tech analyst Larry Magid has been in tech for 4 decades.
Well, I think this is the normal kind of cycling that businesses go through. And since we've come off of such a great bull market and such great success in tech, there are a lot of people who have never experienced that.
Despite what we're seeing just the past week, there will continue to be a very, very, very strong market for people in tech.
The very lifeblood of tech, venture capitalists. Last year, investors blew away all records, shoveling $630 billion into venture capital firms. But with inflation and higher interest rates savaging the economy, even venture capitalists are putting less money into startups, but demanding better terms from them. But they're not running for the exits.
Tech is here to stay, and it's not going away.
Uber, Twitter, and Amazon are among the most recent tech companies to slow down hiring, while e-commerce giants Wayfair and Facebook parent Meta have frozen hiring.
Now, despite this morning,
we are in constant communication with the Ukrainians about what they need on an almost daily basis. So we already have some thoughts about future systems and material that'll go.
More Ukrainian fighters have left the besieged steel plant in Mariupol. There are growing fears about what could happen to them in Moscow's hands. Russian officials are considering possible war crime charges. They were registered as prisoners of war once they surrendered at the plant.
Following the war in Ukraine, 2 of Russia's neighbors now want to join NATO. President Joe Biden's forcefully supporting the applications of Finland and Sweden. That's
President Biden offered support to the leaders of Sweden and Finland in their bid for NATO membership.
New members joining NATO is not a threat to any nation. It never has been. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. That's its purpose, to defend.
If talks go well, approval of the bids would bring NATO right up to Russia's border. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned there could be consequences if Sweden and Finland officially join NATO.